Let's go over some tips and tricks for Mini Project 7. Mini Project 7 follows closely to the homework and some of the examples that were given during the lectures. And so what I'm going to do is just combine and condense the information on the next slide, talk about some ways that you can approach the problems, and go over the types of probability and the corresponding formulas. So the first tip that I have is determine the type of event that is given in the certain problem that's on the mini project. So if you have and probability, there's two different types of and probabilities. The first is an independent event. So let's say you want to tossing heads twice in a row, so heads and heads. The second toss does not depend on the first toss, and the formula there is probability of A and B is given by probability of A times probability of B. There's also a dependent and probability, where this is where you would draw cards without replacement. So for instance, if you want to know the probability of drawing 2 sevens in a standard deck, and you're not replacing the cards, you have the probability of drawing the first 7 and then the probability of drawing the second 7, given that the first one has already been drawn, and that's how this formula works. Probability of A and B with a dependent event is probability of A times the probability of B given A. And recall, examples of all of these are also given in the lectures, but on this slide I wanted to put it all in one place for the mini project. You also have OR probability, and under OR probability you have non-overlapping and overlapping events. So non-overlapping events are events that can't necessarily happen at the same time. So for instance, rolling A2 or A3, so being happy with either of those on a 6-sided die, probability of A or B is probability of A plus probability of B. Or you can have overlapping events. So let's say you want to draw a 7 or a club. The reason this is overlapping is there is a 7 of clubs in the deck. So the 7 and club do overlap. So that probability is given by probability of A or B is equal to probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of both of those. So for instance, in this case, drawing a 7 or a club, probability of a 7, there's 4 of them in the deck out of 52. A club, there's 13 of those out of 52, but there's only one 7 of clubs. So that would be the P of A and B would be that 1 out of 52. Okay, so first thing when you see a probability problem is to figure out what type of event it's asking for or the scenario at hand. And then my second tip for the mini project, you all are familiar with Canvas by now, write your answer as specified. So typically this is going to be a simplified fraction. There may be 1 or 2 that have decimals, but pay attention that you're entering the answer as specified so that you'll know whether it's right or wrong when you hit the submit button.